Most of the crew, including Ellen, didn't know it, but the government officials sent the Konrad on a mission to uncover the secrets of the Evomorph. The raid on the decrepit carrier was a ploy to find the Evomorph hatchling. Ellen found a crew member dead in one of the service tunnels in a grisly scene. Her crewmates didn't believe her at first, but then they found the facility's tech being devoured in the mess hall. After discovering that a parasitic ultra-predator was aboard the ship, Ellen vowed to defeat the beast. She knows she has options, and if she needs to, she'll use the self-destruct sequence to take the fiend to hell with her. Greetings and welcome to Meet Me at the Table. Today we're going to be doing a playthrough of Final Girl, and as you can tell by the intro, we're going to be playing against the Evomorph on the USS Konrad. I'm super pumped for this. This is very similar to another alien type experience, one of my favorite movies of all time, and what better way to play it than in a game like Final Girl. I'm going to go through a quick setup and then we're going to jump right into this game. If you're excited to see if Ellen can take out the Evomorph and maybe even save some of her crew, then I need you to meet me at the table. This is a pretty panned out view of the first part of the board, but I'm going to go through each step starting from this side and going this way and showing you exactly what we have going on here. The first thing we have is our final girl, which is going to be Ellen. Ellen is going to start on this side. We have to rescue 6 people, and then she can flip to this, and it says, when successfully resolving a search action card, you may choose to freely look through all the locations used unused item cards instead of the space item deck. So that's super good power that hopefully we can get to. She starts with 4 health, which we've put our 3 health right here. And the way this game works is you're going to take one of these little markers here. Each one of them says +1 with an extra die. And if you're ever at that point in the game, you're going to get an extra die to be rolling. And you'll see how that works during the playthrough. But you have to put one of these up here as your last health. And in this game, which is really cool, is there's a chance that there either is going to be 0 extra health under here, 1, 2, or even up to 3 health that can help you out and bring you back to life right in the final area of the game. So I'm gonna just pick out one. We're gonna put it over here so she starts with her 4 health. Next, we have our tracker over here, our horror tracker and our time tracker. We always start on 6 unless there's something tells us otherwise. We don't have anything like that. And we're gonna be starting on 4 here for our horror based on the Evomorph, and we'll get to show you a little bit more about that as we get to him. I'm just kind of moving from this side and going that way, though some of this all interconnects as you can see. We're going to remove these tokens from here and put them aside a little bit here. This is going to show where our items go, but we don't have any at the start except for 1. In this game, we are going to start with 1 item, and that is going to be our key card. And that's found right here. This key card we have, it says put 1 of the tokens on this card you take it during the action phase. You may place a token on the maintenance card if your current space has that particular icon, or on a maintenance shaft. And I'll show you what that's all about once we get to there, but do know that is her starting item. And we're going to take 1 of the tokens that has to do with the key card and place it right there. So we do start with that in the game. Down here, we have our 0 action cards, and we're going to be playing these and being able to take advantage of these based on how many successes we have in the game. We're going to put these, this is our starting hand. We have it readily available. Now all the cards down here are going to be part of our action tableau that we can buy based on how much time we have saved at the end of our turn, after the end of our action phase. So we can buy this one, for example, for 3, or we could buy planning, for example, is going to cost us 4, or something of that nature. Now this particular mission comes with a special card called Scan, and there are 3 of them, and that's because our Evomorph can hide in the ship. We don't know where it is, so we have to try to scan for it. So it's one we could buy for 1, and we'll see how that works during the game. We need to set up our horror deck next, and to set up this deck, normally you would do it completely random, but because we're doing a specific scenario out of the Final Girl lores and scenario card, we're doing the very first one because it's basically the alien game. We're going to be doing exactly what it tells us to do, which is going to be the events we're going to set up exactly like it is, but for the USS Konrad, terror cards, we're going to take Let's Test the Maintenance Shaft, Gas Leak, and Garbage Day. And for the Evomorph, we are going to take 6 regular random cards, 1 minor dark power at random, and mix them together. So I have taken out the gas leak, the garbage day, and let's test the maintenance shaft. We have those 3 right here. These are all the other ones. We're going to take 6 of these randomly, so we're going to give these a quick little truffle shuffle here, and we're going to draw 6 of them at random and place them down with the other 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. We got those 6. Then these are the minor dark power cards. We're going to shuffle these up and take one of these. And I know it sounds like I'm kind of making, it doesn't seem as random as it's supposed to be, but trust me, this is still random, pretty random. This is still a tough game. I love this game. It's so tough. I'm going to take all those cards, mix them together, and this is going to form our horror deck. And we're going to be drawing from this as we play through the game, and you'll see how that works as well. We'll put it right down here. The terror deck, I should say, sorry, not horror deck. The terror deck is right there. And now we can also have more items, and I believe you can carry as many items as you want, but you can only carry a certain number of items that are in your hand, which are going to be placed over in this area here. You can either have 2 hand slots or the 1 hand slot, depending on what type of item you're using. So that's this part of the board. It's all set up and ready to go. Let's move up to our location and our villain. Here we have cards and boards for the Evomorph and the Konrad. We'll start with the Evomorph. The Evomorph does have its own rules. One of the rules it has is it starts with this ambush deck that has both an adult and a youngling deck. We're going to give this a truffle shuffle right here, and we're going to place it with the youngling side face first. And this thing, just like in the movie Alien, is going to evolve. It's going to start as a little hatchling and then move into more of a chestburster type creature and then become the actual alien that you see here. Now, this is a little scripted. I'm not supposed to take these at random. This makes this creature very similar to the actual alien in the movie, which is pretty awesome. There are specific cards that you're going to use. Now, normally you can choose different ones. They're going to be a random cards you're going to be drawing for this particular creature for the different parts of the card. We have the finale, and then we have this evolve card here. But that's not the case for this particular scenario. In this particular scenario, we are going to be using the cards that it tells us, which is going to be, where is it? Right here, it's going to be Acid for Blood and Death in the Dark. Those are going to be the cards that are going to be placed here for our Evomorph ready to go. We have the Blood Splotch right down here that's going to be creeping up this track, making it more powerful and giving it more powers and things as it goes. And it's going to increase its strength, its damage, and its movement usually as it goes forward. And of course, there's these 2 little spots here called Evolve. And as the way that works is this evolution card right here. It starts here, and it says here, only increase the track if the hatchling kills a victim. If it would move in any other way, I'm just going to lose time. Now, once we get to the first evolve section right here, we move to the next part here, and we'll see how this all plays out. So it's going to go through 3 stages of evolution, and it starts on the first one right there. So that's this creature right here, and I have its other 2 miniatures right here ready to go, and it has the first miniature is right here. This is the very first thing it starts as, this little creature that attacks you. Now, I'm sorry I don't have these painted up yet. I sadly have just gotten over I guess we could say my entire house, I think, kind of caught the plague. We went through a big set of illnesses, and we're just getting back to normal. So I haven't had a chance to do many paintings, but that's okay. I'm hoping to get these painted up pretty soon. Let's move over to the USS Konrad. The next thing we have is, you're going to see these 2 key card things here, and we have this power loader right here. If you remember from the movie Aliens, this power loader is amazing. And the power loader always starts right here in the hangar and is available to us right here with this card here. But in order to power it, we have to find a particular item in the deck. So that's why it's not out there. This is the Konrad. If you look at it in particular, it's a very interesting board. It is basically the spaceship, but you're going to see that you can move along these corridors just like this. But notice there are these ventilation shafts, and you cannot move through these. And the Evomorph will also not move through them unless you're told to by a certain card predicament or an evolution or something of that nature. But you can start traveling with them if you open them up by using your key card. So once you use these, you put your key card token there, and then you would be able to then travel anytime through this shaft if you wish to, back and forth however you want to in the game, but once it's unlocked. Of course, you might want to save those, because like you heard about a little bit earlier, there are also maintenance cards. There are actually 3 particular maintenance cards. There is the self-destruct maintenance card that you can place 4 key cards here inside of the what is it, the bridge. And once that's done, you're going to start the self-destruct sequence, and you want to get to the airlock or a particular one that has the green escape areas. Otherwise, you're going to blow up with the ship. And it does say in the rules that normally when you and the alien, or villain, I apologize, both die in the game, that's still a victory. Not so if you use the self-destruct system. You have to still be able to survive. Self-destructing, blowing you and the Evomorph up does not consider it a victory. There's also two other ones, a crusher and an incinerator. And the crusher, if I use one of mine, which is located right here, I think in the trash compactor, if we get that powered up, we're able to use it where I can do some damage to anything that walks in there, either an enemy or a victim, unless of course the victim is with me. It will not affect me or a victim that I'm walking around with. Also, the incinerator is found down here in the furnace, and if we can get that powered up, that can do some damage. There's a lot of different ways to do damage. Then we also have the airlock, where we can put three things together. And once it is activated, I'm going to place the token on these tokens on token in the hangar, which is located right here. Once that is activated, then if the killer dies, reveal the final health. Then during the action phase, while the hangar is in the adjacent space, you may discard that and open the airlock, instantly killing everyone in the hangar. If present, the super loader is lost, which is that token that is right here. That is also found in the hangar. So the cool thing is there's a lot of different ways to hopefully do some damage or kill this Evomorph as we're playing through the game. Of course, it sounds like there's lots of ways to kill him. He also is on the rampage and trying to kill all of us. We have all of our guys up here. There, I'm going to place them down on the board based on our setup card, which we haven't got to yet. The next thing I'm going to get ready is our items deck. There are a lot of different items in this deck, and like I said, I did pull 3 key cards because you're supposed to start with 1, and 2 of them are going to go out on this board based on the setup card that we draw. The item cards for the USS Konrad are going to be found in the armory, the mess hall, and storage, and those are in these respective places here, the mess hall, the armory, and the storage. And you can tell by this icon that you can be using your search cards that you have to buy for 2, and then hopefully roll well enough on your dice to be able to find some particular items in these rooms. Now, what are the items we have? Well, we'll have to shuffle these up and see what we have. You're going to draw 4 separate piles, so we'll give these a good old truffle shuffle here and put down 4 cards in each of the places here. So 1, 2, 3, and 2, 2, 3, and a few more here. 3, 2, 3, and 4, 2, 3. That does mean there are going to be 4 cards that we are not going to be playing with. Once these cards are all dealt out, we do get to flip the top card up, so we do see what all of these are. And if we go to these particular places and buy them, we'll take a closer look at some of these item cards here. But I can already tell you one of them is a flamethrower. I'm probably going to be wanting to get that. That looks really good. And then, oh, look at this. We got a vibro claw. We got a couple weapons out there. And notice, of course, like I said, the super loader's out there. There, in theory, could be an item in there that would be able to activate that. Now, of course, it could be in one of the 4 that we don't have access to, and we won't know. But remember, Ellen has that awesome ability where if I do search in a room, once she's fully powered, she can look through all of these cards and potentially maybe find it at that point. We have our event deck all set up. It is all the cards. There's no difference when it comes to this, what you're going to set up in this deck. We just got the entire event deck right here. We're going to give it a truffle shuffle like that. It does say, though, that we do start with Jonas the cat out, which, of course, is, I guess say Ellen's cat. It does say place a special victim, which is going to be the orange one right here. With Meeple, with victims that is the farthest from you. This is Jonas. Jonas will not follow you. During the upkeep phase, panic Jonas 3 times. If you end the action phase in the same space as the cat, I can choose one of the following 2 things to do. And I believe Jonas, though, is just like any other bystander. The, Evomorph will probably kill this poor little kitty as we're playing. Now, to set up the board, we're going to grab the top setup card and see what it is. So let's give these a good old truffle shuffle, and we'll draw one of the cards and see what we have. Once we have this card, we are going to flip it face up, and we're going to set the board up in this particular order, exactly like this. We have our killer here. Our final girl is going to be here, and all these numbers are going to be where we're going to place some of our victims. Zooming in on the board just like that, I'm going to put a little card down here so we have everything we need. We're going to start taking our victims and we'll place them where they're supposed to go. One's going to go here. 2 are going to go in this particular spot there, hanging out in the hangar. I guess that's a good thing to do, is hang out in the hangar. And then we're going to keep on going here. We got a couple in the mess hall. I'm probably having some dinner there. We have one in the escape pod, probably wishing he could activate it, or she. We'll put one in the storage. We'll put one here. And then the last one is going to go over here in the escape pod. Oh, look at this. We got two in the bridge right there. And then we have our Jonas cat. We have to place that one. But first, let's get our final girl. We, of course, have our miniature for it. It is right here. Again, sorry, I have not had a chance to paint it up. Hanging on the armory. That's probably the best spot known to man. And then we have our killer. Our killer is going to be in the junction. Oh my gosh, right in the middle of the board. That's out of control. Then we do have to put key cards down. And like I said, it starts with two on the board. There's going to be one here and one here. And we'll place those little tokens into those particular spaces on the board. And those are unique for this particular location. Now you can stand these up, you can lay them down, and I'm just going to have them standing up. And of course, this is not the view we're going to be seeing when we play the game. I do my best to try to make sure you can really see in the action and see exactly what's going on during the game. Now this character does have to be placed in with a victim as far away from me as possible. I believe it's probably going to be the escape pod, but let's check it out. 1, 2, 3 over there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, it's going to be an escape pod over there. That's the farthest one from me. Now, in order to pick up a key card, we do have to either end or start our movement in the space where that key card is. And we do have to spend one time in order to pick it up. So we do have our board all set up. We have our Jonas the cat out there. That's pretty cool. And at this point, we are all set to begin a playthrough of Evomorph on the USS Konrad with Ellen. We're going to play Final Girl. Let's go to the first part of the turn. Let's quickly look at the turn summary and how we're going to be using our action cards. So as it says up here, the first thing we're going to do is our action phase, where we're going to play our cards. Now remember, at the beginning, we only have our action 0 cards down here, but we'll be able to play these and during our turn. Then we're going to move into the planning phase, where we're going to be able to purchase some of those new cards that you saw in the tableau. We'll reset our time to number 6. After that, we'll return the action cards in the discard to the tableau. And that's really important and kind of an interesting way of working. And I'm excited to show you how that works. It kind of threw me for a loop the first time I did it, but once I've gotten the hang of it, I completely understand why it's there, and it's a really cool implementation. Then we're going to move into the killer phase. We'll resolve killer actions and draw terror cards, and after that, we're going to panic. If any victim was killed this turn, panic all victims in the killer space. So hopefully that doesn't happen too often, but you never know. Then we're going to go to the upkeep phase. There's usually not a lot that's going to happen in the upkeep phase, except we have an extra event down here, which is Jonas, that during the upkeep phase, we're going to panic Jonas 3 times. So that's going to happen during that phase of the game. As you see here, we're going to be playing all our different action cards. And the way this works is you're going to choose a card you want to play. And to resolve the action on the card, we're going to make a horror roll. And that's going to be based on our little dial where we are sitting. And I'll show you that in just a second. And we're going to see how many successes we get for that action. We're going to convert partial successes, which you see right here as these, into successes by discarding any 2 action cards. And that will convert any of those particular dice rolls into successes. Then after that, to gain 1 time, I can also discard on any of these action cards I want that I decide I'm not going to use, and that will get me 1 time. And that might be the difference between being able to buy a card that you might want later during this planning phase, or being able to actually do something again during the action phase itself. When we were talking about making a horror roll, it's going to be based on where this particular token is sitting. And that's the horror level that we're at. Right now it is 4. So we're going to be able to roll 2 dice when we resolve any of our actions. We want to be able to get these successes. But if we get these, we can still discard 2 cards to make it a success. And of course, a 1 or a 2, which is over here somewhere. There they are. These are going to be just straight out, you fail. And we don't want to see any of those because that's going to be bad news city. Now let's take a look at the board and see what a good plan would be. Our goal is to try to get 6 people out of this ship, because we'll be placing them down here and gaining these benefits and be able to flip this card to get her superpower. And that would be very helpful when trying to take this thing on. So these are all of the different victims. They are going to stay right where they are, except for 2 different things. One is if we move into the space, we can choose to have them follow us. We can only have up to 2 different victims following us at a time. The other one, of course, is if they panic during the panic phase, that will also move them. So we do have an escape pod here, an escape pod here, and an escape pod up here. Notice these green symbols here. This is how you're able to get victims out. Now, victims standing in the squares without you there aren't exactly the smartest people on the planet, and they're not going to just go ahead and escape. That'd be too good. You have to actually be in the space where they are, and they'll be able to escape. And that means you could technically pass through it. So if I was, let's say, here, and I had this victim, I could go 1, 2 like that, and both of these victims could be able to escape because I have entered that space with the victims already. I hope I was in the armory. If we look at our event card, yes, or setup card, yes, I am. Also, we are in the armory. We could attempt to search for something. Sadly, the only thing in the armory is our ship's manifest. And in order to search, we have to have a search card. So we're going to have to maybe buy that during the planning phase in order to get a hold of it. And the manifest, ship's manifest here that we have says while you're at a search location, discard the ship's manifest to look through the ship's item deck, place the cards in any order you wish, and leave the top card face up, which means we're able to take all those cards in that particular area, let's say the armory or the mess hall or the storage, any one of those, and put them in any order we want, which wouldn't be a bad idea. Now, let's see what our plan should be. Now, of course, another thing I could do is I do have that key card. I could spend it to unlock this if I want to, making it easier for me to move around this ship. Otherwise, I have to go all the way around to get over to this escape pod. I could unlock this and be able to move like this, being able to free those 3 people, and I think that's what I'm going to do. But using those key cards in that fashion make it way harder to make any of these other ideas a possibility. And I think we're going to forego those. Last time I played and lost severely, I actually went for one of these and it didn't work out in my favor. So let's try a different strategy this time. Of course, that was when I played off camera. Now we're playing it on camera. Let's see how this goes. I am going to unlock that. And after that, I am going to choose to use a walk card. So at this point, I am going to play this card and roll my horror dice here and see how it goes and make a horror roll. And depending on how many stars I get, we're going to be able to resolve this. If I get no stars, I have to either lose 2 time or I can move a space, and this means I'm going to automatically lose 1 health, nothing I can do about it, and pay 2 time. Now, of course, if I get a success or 2, I'm going to be able to walk a long ways and be able to, but it's going to use up a little bit of time. The way I do this is I will put this into my play area, and then I will take my 2 dice and roll them and try to attempt to get this on camera. We'll see how it goes. I got, a pretty terrible roll here. Now, in order for this to be a success, I'm going to have to discard 2 of my other cards, and that's only going to allow me to move 1 space, but that might be just enough. If I don't do anything, this is considered a failure, and that'd be a failure, and we would have to be able to move a space, lose 2 time, and lose 1 health. I don't think losing health is a good plan. I think we'll just lose a couple cards and continue on. I am going to lose my short rest and a weakness card. I don't need those, so we're going to put those under there just like that because it makes it easier then for me to realize what's going on. That would then be a success. You're not really supposed to turn the dice, but I'm just doing this to show you how this is going to work. At this point, I'll now resolve my card. I get to move 1 space and I lose 1 time. Since we opened this area up, I am going to move 1 space over there, which is going to be fantastic. Now at this point, I do have to lose 1 time. We're going to go down to 5. If you do notice, there is a word written here, FHM, that's for extreme hard mode. You could play on a harder difficulty. Also, they have a different thing here that says use the outer dial for extreme horror mode, making it harder to keep your dice. If you notice, if you get into the green, I'm able to roll 3 dice. So it's good to go this way, bad to go this way. If you get down in this way, you're only going to roll 1 dice. The most you can ever have is just 1 success. That's absolutely bonkers. I could get rid of these, but of course I did forget to put 1 down on our little Evomorph. So I'm going to take one of these and place it over here on my little thing there for him. It's all set to go. I know it's a little out of camera. I apologize, but I forgot to do that. I am going to get rid of these. Now you're not allowed to look at these once you remove them from or put them out on your character, because then you would know which ones are out there and which ones aren't. And you have a pretty good idea what you have right here. And of course, what our Mr. Bad Guy has over there. Looking again at the board, I think our best plan is to again try to do another walk action. We'll play our card and take a couple dice and roll them up. Hopefully something good happens. We'll see how this goes. Well, that's not a good roll. Oh no, look at this. I have to get rid of another 2 cards in order to make this happen, and I really need it to happen. So I'm going to have to go. This is a terrible, terrible thing to do. Maybe I'll take the damage and move 1 space. I can always potentially heal that up as we continue through the game. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to save my 2 cards. I want to keep them. So I'm going to lose 1 health in order to move 1 space and lose 2 times. So if you look up here, kind of off camera a little bit, we're moving down to 3 time. And after moving it to 3, I am going to lose 1 health, which I'll put down in the health pool there. And I only have 3 left. 1, 2, and this does count. This one right here does count as a health point. But good news for us, we do get to move 1, and I can take up to 2 victims with me. So I'm going to take these 2 victims over to the escape pod for 1 movement. And since there are victims in the escape pod, that's the deal. I get to make them escape, and I get to make more than whatever's there get to escape. So I can move all 3 of these to my board and escape with them. And this means I get to place them down on our board, and I get to choose things that we want. So for example, I think it would be good right here. I'm going to cover this one up, which is going to give me back my 1 life. So I'm back to 4 health, which is noted there. And let's see what else I can do. Maybe moving 1 space wouldn't be too bad. And I don't know if I'm going to need to time yet, but maybe moving, or actually just taking a search card, I think would be a good idea. Because we can move over and try to get to the mess hall and get our, oh, it's going to be a while to get there. Let's just go ahead and move the horror down 1. Having placed our victims on our card, I am going to move this 1 this way. If we can get it over to here, then we get some green dice. That'd be awesome. We also get to move 1 space, so I'm going to move right back up into the hangar. At this point, I have 3 time left. I could attempt to play a focus card if I wanted to, which could lower the horror, which wouldn't be a bad idea. The problem is I have to bank on getting a success. If I don't, and all I get is this, I only have 1 other card, so I wouldn't be able to appease the 2 cards to make it a success. And if I roll something like that, that means that I would have to suffer the bottom penalty here, because I'd get no successes, meaning I would have to drop my time to 1, and there's not a lot of cards out here I can buy for 1 cost. So I'm not going to go any farther. I am going to finish my turn at this point. So at this stage in the game, we're going to moving over to the planning phase, where I get to purchase action cards based on my time. So that means I can purchase anything out here as long as it doesn't put me past 0. So for example, I could not buy a critical blow card that would normally cost 6 because I only have 3 time remaining over here. I think our best bet is I want to move some more. So I'm going to grab a sprint card, which is a very good moving card. We're going to take that one into our hand, and then we have this as well. It's a special card called Close Call. After a horror roll to play after any horror roll to either re-roll a die or re-roll all the dice for 2 time. This is going to be good. It only costs 1. I'll put that in my hand. So our hand now consists of a sprint, a close call, and 2 focus cards. Now that we're done with purchasing cards, we're then going to reset the timer to 6. After that's done, we'll return action cards in the discard pile to the tableau. So since this is our discard pile, I'm going to put this into the tableau. These are all 0s, so I'm going to put them in the 0 action cost place. Now, of course, when you're buying cards, if you ever dropped your time to 0, and you could still always buy the 0 cards. So for example, where we were, if I bought my sprint card, I would lose 2 time. Then when I bought my close call card, I would go to 0 time. If there were any here at the time that we're purchasing cards, I could then pick up as many of those as I want, as long as you never go over 10 cards in your hand. We're going to go back to 6. We're going to be done with our planning phase. We're going to move into the killer phase. At the start of the killer phase, we are going to perform the action located up here on this killer card. Now, of course, if this card ever flips, it could be a completely different action that could be way worse than what you see here. So what we're noticing here are 3 different key components here, and they're all shown on the back of our instruction book if you ever have any questions. The first one is going to be who this particular killer is going to target at this time, and that symbol there is a victim. If there's a symbol like this, that would be our target final girl, and this would just be the closest one. But for this particular instance, we are going to target the closest victim. And then we're going to move this killer towards the closest victim. And if you notice down here, our speed value is located right here, which is only a 1. So lucky for us, this doesn't move very fast. But look at this, it does 10 damage. So that's one reason I kind of tried to stay away from it, because I don't want it chasing me down. I think if it get 10 damage to me, I would die automatically, which would be bad news city. So we're not going to deal with that. We're going to then, I guess that's about it for right now. So we're going to go ahead and move our Evomorph 1 space, and then after it gets done, if it's in a space with its target, its victim, it will attack. Looking at where it is, it's right here. 1, 2 spaces away from this one, 1, 2 spaces away from there, and 1, 2 spaces away from the mess hall. So at this point, it's going to target the room with the most victims in it. And that's these two are the most victims that are equidistant. Of course, that's if you're looking for a reason to break any type of ties. So lucky for this person, they're safe because they're all alone. Now, which one of these would they go after? 1, 2 over to here, or 1, 2 up over to there? The question then becomes how you wish to play the game. There are 3 different ways you can do it. You can make it whatever would be the most funny, the one that would be the hardest for you, or the one that would be the closest to a most realistic outcome possible. The bridge is up here. I'm going to guess that I'm just going to make it go for the bridge. That's what we're going to do. We're going to move 1 space that way. That is the end of the original action of our killer. Then, after that is completed, the killer will now draw a terror card. So we're going to take the top terror card and see what we have found. We have found ourselves, let's test the maintenance shafts. For this turn only, all enemies can freely move through the maintenance shafts. They're going to target the closest victim or final girl, move twice because of the 2 boots, and then deal damage. Once that is done, for each enemy that moved through a maintenance shaft this turn, I have to raise the horror value 1 notch. And if you notice, we resolve everything from the top down on these cards. So that's not going to be good. This thing's going to move over here. Now it's going to stop there. It doesn't have to use both its movement if it's already made it to its intended target. And its intended target would have been the closest victim, which would have been these, or the closest girl, which is over here, the final girl. So we're going to go over here, move 1 that way. That's it. It now is going to do 10 damage to one of these and kill it. Now, of course, there is still 1 in its square. Since it only attacks 1, it is only going to deal its 10 damage to 1. Thank goodness. It's not going to deal 10 damage to everything in that square. That'd be ridiculous. So it has killed that victim. Poor victim. At this point, we're going to put our dead victims into this area of the board right down here. So we have lost one of our victims, but we've managed to save 3. Since the Evomorph was able to kill something, its bloodlust is going to go up 1. So we're going to take our little tracker and move it up 1. Now notice it's changed. It now has 5 speed, but it only does 1 damage. But it is going to evolve. So we're going to move our token down 1 on this track here. So at this point now, it is this youngling. It's not a hatchling anymore. It is now a youngling. Upon evolving, it's going to vanish. And that's that's new for this scenario. That's not something that normally takes place. Whenever we're going to increase, now increases normally, or sorry, bloodlust will now increase normally based on our cards. So we're going to make this particular thing vanish. This would be the token we would use. Now, when it vanishes, we're going to place this on top of the terror deck. What that means is that we'll place this down on the terror deck so that we are going to be drawing from our ambush deck now instead of the terror deck until this hits the board. Once it's on the board, then we go back to the terror. If it's ever on the terror deck, we'll be drawing from an ambush deck. All right, let's see what happens to our poor brave people of our ship. Since there was a victim in the space where this thing killed something, we are going to panic this victim. So we'll roll our die and see where it goes. We got a 4, so if we look, it'll show you on the board where this will panic to. Right here it has a 1 to 6. There's only one way out of the bridge. It's going to run back into here. But now notice there's a 1 to 4 chance of it moving this way, or a 5 to 6 chance to move that way. And some places don't have exits for all the dice rolls. For this one, it's only 4, 5, or 6. 1 through 3, the person would stay in that particular room. That's the end of the panic phase. And we're now going to move to the upkeep phase, where we're going to reveal the finale if there was no terror cards left in the deck. And at this point, we could rearrange any items in our inventory if we wish to. Also remember, at this point, we have to panic Jonas 3 times as well. So we'll roll for 1. It's going to move 1, which is going to be over to here. Then we'll roll it again. It got a 4, which is going to move it this way. And if we continue to roll, it got a 6. It's going to run right back. And yes, they can't all move all over the place. They could run back and forth, back and forth. It's kind of funny. They sometimes even can run into the villains, or the villain square, which is super funny. That's the end of the upkeep phase. We're done with our first turn. We're going to move back up to the top of the order, and it's going to be our turn to decide what we want to do. Well, I'm going to actually try to focus. I think we're going to focus first and see how it goes. Let's grab our 2 dice because that is where our horror level is. I want at least 1 star. Let's go 1 star. I need at least 1 star in this. Oh no, this is going to be really bad. Okay, so I can discard 2 cards if I want to be able to roll to gain a success. I think instead I'm going to play my close call, which is not the way I wanted to be doing this. To re-roll a horror die, I'm going to re-roll the blank one. Hopefully this becomes, oh no, I have to discard 2 cards to even make this happen. I'm not going to. That's going to be it. We're going to have to lose 2 time. Our time is going to go down to 4 now. I don't have any other option. I have to keep this going. I need to play sprint. I need to move. I need to move. We need to get moving here. All right, we're going to roll 2 dice. Hopefully these dice don't fail me. Let's see how this goes. Let's roll them on up and see what we get. We got a success, and we could discard 2 cards. I am only holding 1 card in my hand, so that's not going to help. But the success does mean we get to move up to 2 spaces, though we do have to lose 1 time, dropping it down to 3. So let's move ourselves 2 spaces. With the 2 spaces, I'm going to move 1, 2 right to that junction. It's the best I can do. Oh, man. I have 1 focus card left. Do I try it? It would leave me with only 1 time, meaning we're not going to have much we're going to be able to do the next turn. But let's go for it. Let's play our focus card. These dice can't be all bad. Let's go. Let's get something good, man. Oh, okay, we got 1 success. I'll take it. That's good enough. I don't have anything else I can do about that. So what that means, I get to lower the horror value, but it does cost me 1 time, so we're down to 2 time, and I get to lower the horror. And that's good because we're getting closer to these green, which means I can roll 3 dice, so that means it's even a better chance of getting some good rolls, because our rolls haven't been the greatest so far. Moving into the planning phase, we have 2 time. Now, one thing we could do is pick up our scan card. Let's quickly look at this. It does say it can only be resolved when the Evomorph has vanished. And our Evomorph has vanished. It is gone. It's sitting over there on the terror deck. At this point, we can roll, depending on how many successes we get, we can place an X in your space. And that means that you've scanned the area, so most likely the Evomorph can't land on you and attack you. Yeah, or if we do that, we could also lower the horror if we get a better enough roll. And if we get the top roll here, it says place the Evomorph in your space and skip the next killer phase. Remove this card from the game. And there are 3 of them, so we could potentially do that 3 times if we wanted to buy that. But with 2, I know I'm going to be getting back my 2 walk cards, a short rest, and a weak attack, because those are going to be 0. So I've got 2. I could take a search, I could take a guard, sprint, and that's about it. Or I could take another close call if I wanted to with a scan card, because they're both 1. I think I'm going to take a search card. That's going to be my plan. I've got a plan. We'll see how it works. So I'm going to take search into my hand, and then that's going to cost me 2 time, bringing it to 0. I then can pick up all of these 0 cards and place them into my hand. Once that's done, I'm now going to restock these. This is going to go here. The focus card is going to go there. The focus card is going to go there, and my sprint card will go up there. At this point, we're now going to move into the killer phase. We're going to draw a card and abide by the top part of this card. Oh, we have to raise the horror, and we have to raise the bloodlust up 1. It did not jump out. It's still hanging out there. And this is just for the youngling because that's where we are in this deck. Up here, it does show you kind of the danger value of this particular card. Now, of course, there are some bottom parts here, and that's if it was the adult. Now, we'll place that on the bottom, and that's the end of his turn. They did not jump out and attack us, so that's it. Since it's still sitting on the terror deck, we're not going to be drawing a terror card. There is nothing to panic, but I do have to move Joan-ness here. Let's see here. Joan's going to go to 4, which is going to be over to here. Then it's going to go to 5, which is going to be back here. I want it to stay in the mess hall. Stay in the mess hall. 2. Oh, you didn't stay in the mess hall. Come on. But you're in the mess hall. Oops, I knocked that person out. I think that person was in the storage room. There we go. All right, it's going to be our turn now. Hopefully we can do some good here. I think we're going to start by walking. I don't think there's anything else I can really do. I'm going to walk. Other than that, it's a search, and that's okay. We're going to use a walk card, hopefully get somewhere. We'll roll a couple dice. I did forget to reset my timer to 6. Always starts at 6 unless something tells you otherwise. Come on, I got some boots. They're made for walking. Oh yeah, there we go. My boots are made for walking this time. I can move 1 space if I want. That's going to be awesome, and that's exactly what I want to do. Now that is going to cost me 1 time, so I'm going to move it down to 5. But I'll move 1 space up to there. I'm in the space where my cat is, but the only way to get the ability from that cat is I have to end the action phase there. And I don't want to do that. I want to still do stuff. I can, however, since I ended my movement here, grab this key card. It's going to cost me 1 action, or 1 time, but I think a key card is going to be very good. That's going to drop our time down to 4. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to walk again. Hopefully we've got the same walking boots on that we had last time. Can I need a success? Yes, I got a success, and I can give up 2 cards for another one. I do not want to. I'll just keep the 1 success. We're going to drop our time down to 3 and move 1 space. And that will put me right where I want to be in the mess hall. At this point in the mess hall, I'm going to use that search card that we have. Come on, we need to get a good roll here. I need to search something good. So I'll play our search card right there and see what we get. We got, I have to give up 2 cards to search, or I could just take the failure, raise my horror by 2 to take the item in your space and lose 2 time, or I could just forego all that and gain 1 horror and lose 2 time, or I can discard my short rest and my weak attack. Surprise, surprise, I'm going to do that, to take the item in my space and lose 1 time. My time goes down to 2, but I get to pick up the item in my space, and in the mess hall is this flamethrower. Oofda, boom, boom. It says all damage must be distributed evenly between victims, enemies, and you in that order, in the space that is attacked. Now, of course, if I attack something that only has 1 of those in it, let's say the enemy, I'm going to do my damage to the enemy. That'll be absolutely awesome. Now, this does have a range of 0 to 1. It can never fire 2 spaces, but it could fire in the space I am or the space adjacent, which would also be awesome. We're going to place that into my items, but it's going to be placed into the area that has 2 hands. Whenever you pick up an item, it's one moment where you could rearrange your item. So if I had something here, I could choose to rearrange it if I wish to. I do also have to put down the amount of times I can use it, and that's going to be 2. And that's going to be denoted by these little things right here. We'll place them down here. Whenever we use one, we will remove one of those. When there aren't any there, it's all used up and we can't use it anymore unless we have a way of refilling it or something. But that's the end. I have no more action cards. So we're going to go buy some cards now. I only have 2 time. It's not too good, but that's okay. I think the only card I really need is a sprint card. So I'm going to buy this sprint card for 2, which is going to bring everything to 0. And then I'm going to grab both my focus cards that are sitting in the 0 slot here as I throw everything all over the board. And at this point, I will put all of these back. My search card goes here, and all of these 0 cards are going to go right there. It's now our Evomorph's turn. I wish I knew where he was, but I do not. We're going to draw our ambush card. Hopefully it doesn't jump out and attack us. We're just going to raise the bloodlust by 1. So it's going to go up 1. Now this also means that once he reaches this spot, that the horror is going to go up as well. The horror is now at 3. Moving into the panic phase, there is nothing to panic. So at this point, we're going to do the upkeep, which means our cat is going to run. Go 6, over back into here, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's pretty hilarious. Here we go, back over here, and let's see if it moves again. It got a 5, so it's going to go down into the junction. So our cat is sitting in the junction, waiting for us to come and pet it or something. I don't know, but I really wish it would end where I am, or I could end where it is. That'd be really, really good. But that is what we're going to move into our next turn and see what we can do. I think we'll start by sprinting. That's right, we're going to sprint. And this honestly might be the only thing we do this turn because I don't have much else I can do. Let's see, we got a success, which I'll take, and then we got a discard 2 to be able to do it again. I think we're fine. I am just going to take the move 2 spaces, lose 1 time, and I think that's all I'm going to do. Yes, I think that will be just fine. Let's see how this goes. Or should I have focused first? Oh, it's too late. We already did our sprint. We'll have to focus next time. Let's move our final girl to here, and our final girl is going to take our 2 people with her, meaning that we're able to again save 3 people. And that's only 1 movement. I can move again. I'm going to move back over to there. We'll place our victims out on here. The first one I have is to take a search card. So we're going to grab a free search card and put it into our hand. Then I've got the last 2 here. We're going to just gain 4 time. That's really good. I don't mind getting time. Time's on my side. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're at 9 time. Think of the awesome cards we're able to buy next turn with all that time. On top of that, since we have filled our board, we're going to remove these and flip our card. We now have our superpower. Now, does that mean we don't have to save any more victims? No, we can continue to save victims because down at the bottom, it states here, for each additional victim save, I get to gain 1 time, which will really help us buy some powerful cards to use against this Evomorph, which is, oh, we got to get this thing. That's the end for that, I think I've got 4 cards. I'm in the room with the mess hall. Let's search. I'm going to use the search card that I got. Why not? Let's roll this up and see how it goes. Come on, we need at least 1 success. Oh boy. I'm just going to use both my focus cards to make that search go off. We'll be able to take the top item from your space and lose 1 time, going down to 8. Now, the interesting thing is, that's not how this is going to play out. It says, when successfully resolving a search action card, you may choose to freely look through all of the location's unused item cards instead of the space's item deck. So I'm going to look through every one of those cards and see what we can find. There's got to be something really good in these cards. They're all right here. Let's see what we can find. We have found a remote access. During your action phase, you may move any of the key cards on the board to another maintenance shaft or maintenance card. That's not too bad. We have a personal beacon. Once per action phase, you may trigger the following killer action. I don't want that. I mean, I'm sure it'll help against killing victims, but I think we're okay. Another key card. We have emergency access. Move to an adjacent space through an inactive maintenance shaft. Oh my gosh, that would be really good. We're going to put that aside. That would be something you might want here. An energy drink, I can get 3 time or move 1 space. That's not bad. We have another key card. This is one of the cards that was on top. This was the Vibro Claw. It says here, when you are successfully reduced damage from an attack with a reaction card, deal 1 extra damage. So what that means is some of the cards, for example, Furious Strike, it is an attack card. But if you notice, this is a blue card. It's kind of a little bit lighter blue. It's hard to tell which would have been lighter, but that's okay. It is actually a reaction card to when the victim or the killer actually attacks you. You can play this in response. So this thing is going to be able to give you an extra damage in that instance. We have Mysterious Pills. I can lower the horror or gain 2 health. Let's see what else we have. A remote monitor. Once per action phase, you may look at the top card of the terror or ambush deck, leave it in place, or put on the bottom. That's not bad. Motion tracker. Now notice all of these take a hand slot. I can roll an extra dice when doing a scan action. There was some more on that card, but I didn't really care because I'm not going to take it. Then we have the ship manifest. Yeah, I don't think we're done with anything else. I'm just going to take this thing, emergency access. That thing's awesome. I'm going to put it right there. That's super good. Now I have no cards, but I've got 8 time to buy stuff. So this is where I want to buy some really cool things, like maybe gain and retaliate might not be bad, or a guard card, or even a critical blow. Look at this thing. I can do like 3 damage, lose horror, and all that stuff. On top of that, not only would I do the damage from the card, but if I use my flamethrower, that'd be 6 damage to this thing. That'd be really good. Or I could take a Furious Strike. That would be really good. So how much do we have? We have 8. So if I take this for 4, and I take this for 4, I think this would be really good. I'm going to take both of these together, Furious Strike and a Retaliate. Now, the funny thing is I don't want to be in the same place that it is when I'm using this flamethrower. Now, also I did just realize that the key card for the activation card for this was not in there, so we'll never be able to use this super loader. It says here, when you have the super loader equipped, victims will not follow you. Reduce all movement by 1 to a minimum of 1. Reduce all damage taken by 1 to a minimum of 1. And you cannot play short or long rest or search cards. Interesting. I know there's also a rule that says I can't put this in my backpack. And basically, I think the key card for this states that you can use that, but if you ever drop the key card to get out of the ship, you can't, it has to stop where it is. You have to put the token back on the board, which is pretty cool. So it's like getting in and out of the loader, which is really, really awesome. I think that's really neat. So we're going to take these 2 cards. That's all we're going to take for our 8 time. It's going to drop us down to 0, and I'm going to get all of my short rest, my zeros right here, put those into my hand as well. Now we have to be careful. I don't want to try to discard these 2 cards when I'm trying to do some of these extra powers here. So we got to be really careful on that. Now we'll put these back. We have a search, a sprint, and 2 focus cards. They go right there. Now notice there's only 1 of each of these Retaliate and Furious Strikes out here, but some of the other cards, like for example, Guard, does have 2 different cards in it, which is kind of cool. So you can, some of these you do only get 1 of where others have multiples. I might want to think about a scan card next turn too. We'll have to see. This thing is still vanished somewhere in the area here. We'll draw our next card and see what we have found. Oh, wow. It's going to go up 2 and 2. That's out of control. All right, we're going to place this down here. That's no good. We'll move this up 1, 2. Oh, no, look, it's going to evolve. So that means we're going to flip over our card here. This is the first card of the evolution here. What do we have? This is its acid for blood. So it's just like one of those aliens. Super, super cool. When revealed, place the Evomorph in the closest space to you without a X marker on it and remove all X markers. That's why I was hoping I was hoping to get a scan card next turn to prevent that from happening, but that didn't happen because I got to put 2 of them out there. That was out of control. It says whenever you damage the Evomorph in my space, I automatically have to take 1 damage. That's horrible. Acid for blood, yuck. We're then going to move our marker down 1. It's now gotten this part of the card. It says upon evolving, max health increases to 10. Then I recover all health to this thing. So if I've ever damaged it any other way, it would now go to full health and it goes to 10. And then reveal the dark power card and rotate the ambush deck. So I've revealed the dark power card, and we have to rotate this deck so that its feature film is now up here on ambush. And we'll put this just like that. So our dark power card was revealed basically on the evolve. I should have evolved it first, then reveal the dark power card. That was my fault. I did it in the wrong order here. So that's ready to go. Now this one is the finale card. That one comes out when our terror deck is totally depleted. So we don't want to see that deck go all the way down. If we do, we're going to be in big trouble because it's going to flip over and he's going to become super, super powerful. So we need to stock up on health though. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This thing's got 10 health. We got to try to take this thing out, hopefully before it gets way up here. See, right now it's only moving 2 and doing 2 damage. That's not too bad. That's something we can handle. Though look at this, up here, 4. Oh, yuck. Now, one thing we have to remember is I also still have to raise our horror level 2 spaces. So my chances of bringing this back up to the green have become very slim. And we're now going to remove our token here. This guy is no longer going to be part of the game anymore. Instead, we're going to have to actually face the monster of monsters right here. We're going to have to face the Evomorph. All right, we'll put him down right in our spot because it had to be placed in the closest spot to us without an X. Well, the closest spot would be in our spot. So there we go. I got to get away from that thing. Hopefully, I've got a walk card that can get me away from this evil creature. Our killer phase is complete. There is nothing to panic, so we're going to go to the upkeep phase where we're going to roll Jonas's little dice here and see what happens. 6 will move it where? Let's see here, this way. Then we'll roll again. We'll see what we get. Another 6, it goes this way. And we're going to continue with miss 6s though. No, it got a 3. Look at how many successes Jonas gets here. I wish I got that many successes. 3 is going to move it back into that section right there. That's the end of that. We're going to move. I'm going to use my walk card, and that's because I want to get away from this thing so I can shoot it with my flamethrower. We'll play our card, roll our 2 dice. Come on, let's get moving. These boots are made for, oh my gosh, I gotta lose 2 cards in order to do something about this. I think we're gonna lose I've got a plan. We're gonna lose our walk and our short rest card. This is really a bad plan, actually. I wonder if I think I'm just gonna lose the 1 damage and move our time down 2 to 4. I think that's gonna be the only thing I can really do. Good news, I get to move over to the trash compactor. And now I'm going to use my Furious Strike. I'm going to try to hit this thing, and we're going to use our flamethrower, meaning I'm going to use one of the charges to do 3 damage plus whatever I can get from this Furious Strike. Hopefully I can get something out of it. I'm going to remove one of our tokens from it. Oh, this could be really good. But before we make our attack, I am going to use the Crusher. It costs no time to use these particular things, all these different maintenance cards, but you have to be in the space where it happens. But it doesn't cost you any time to do it. So this is going to be awesome. Now it says whenever an enemy or a victim ends its movement in the trash compactor, it's going to do 1 damage. And if this thing comes at me to attack me, that means it's going to do 1 damage because I think that might be what happens. But there, okay, we did this. Now let's make that attack. At this point, we'll play that Furious Strike card. The reason I did that maintenance first is because if I only get 1 success or no successes, that means that part of this whole line here is that the action phase ends, and I wouldn't be able to do it. So let's grab these 2 guys. These look good. We'll roll these up and see how it goes. I need some successes. Let's get them. I got a success and a double card. Oh, do I want to use the double card? I've got Walk, Short Rest, Weak Attack, and Retaliate. Oh, no, I need some of these. Okay. I could get rid, I need the short rest because I've already lost 1 health, and 4 would be bad news. I could get rid of my walk card, that's not a big deal, but I don't have anything else. I want to keep the retaliate because I know it's going to probably come and attack me. So I want to try to make sure I can do something about it. and I want to keep the weak attack because I want to attack again next turn. So I think we are, oh man, this is so sad. I was really hoping to attack it twice. Use all my flamethrower and call it a day. That would have been a total of 3, 4, 5, and if I had hit with this thing, 6, 7, 8, 9, that would have been almost all of it, but oh no, I guess we're going to have to deal with it one at a time. Slowly but surely we will kill this thing. I'm going to do 2 damage, lower the horror, so the horror is going to go to 4. I've used my flamethrower, so that's going to be 3 more damage, so 3, 4 damage that we're going to do to this thing. So we're going to take off 4 hearts from the Evomoph, or whatever, and that's going to be it. It's now at 6 health left. And our action phase has come to an end. So I do get to keep these cards, which is the good thing. And that didn't cost me any time, so we're still at 4. We can pick up 4 points worth of cards here. Why don't we grab a planning card? That way I have a pretty good chance of getting some extra dice that I can use when I make my next attack, or even when I'm making a retaliate. No, it has to be, I can't use it during a retaliate because that's the next turn. Maybe at least I can use it for a weak attack or a short rest or something to try to get some health back. I think that's our best bet. And of course, after I thought about that, I think that's a bad idea. I'm going to take distraction. Oh, I don't even know what to do. There's so many things to do. Here's my thinking, because otherwise it just looks like I'm just grabbing cards and talking about them. I really think I should take a scan card. I think that's a big deal. I think I should have the scan card just in case this thing vanishes again. I don't want to jump down on top of me and attempt to destroy me. So that means I'm going to have only 3 time. That's why I didn't think it would be best to take the planning card. But for 3, distraction or improvise, all action phase, so I could use this for the next horror roll only. 3s and 4s are success. Let's try improvise. I'm going to grab these cards. That's going to bring my total down to 0. Call it a day. It'll go back to 6, and that's going to be it. I'm then going to also take my 2 0 cards. We'll count our cards to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We do not have 10 cards. And I'll place my Furious Strike and my Walk card back out in the tableau. It is now the Evomorph's turn, and we start by doing the action up here, so it's going to move towards a victim and attempt to attack it. The closest victim is 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, so it's over here. 1, 2, and yes, it will move right past me. It won't even attack me. The damage that this creature is going to be able to do is 2, so it's going to destroy this guy, and its bloodlust is going to go up 1, meaning now it does 3 damage and moves 2 spaces. With that done, we'll now draw a terror card. So this thing gets to always act. The villains activate usually a couple times each turn. We have got ourselves a gas leak. Roll a die to determine which maintenance shaft leak toxic gas. Oh, that's going to be awesome. All right, let's see what happens. We'll roll a die and see what we get. We got a 4. So that's the upper right. That's going to be this one up here. Everyone in a space adjacent to an affected maintenance shaft receives a damage, which would be these 2 right here, so nothing happens. But if you look at the bottom, it says event. So at this point, we will draw a new event card. So Jonas is still out there, but we're going to draw another one and see what we have. We have Master Access. If any of the top cards of the item deck are face down, flip them face up, take any key card items, cards that are showing. Oh, that's absolutely hilarious. All right, we'll put that. Then it says discard this card. So notice not all of them do. This one says if Jonas the cat leaves play, discard this card. Otherwise, it stays out there. So we will discard this one, but we'll keep that out there. I'll tell you right now, none of the item cards on the top up here are going to have any of the key cards on them. They're not there. It's all something different. These are the item cards that are available. I flipped that one face up. It's an energy drink. So that's not going to get me any type of key card item, which would actually be kind of cool. Good news, bad news. He did not end up in the trash compactor space, so he does not take a damage. Good news, he's not in my space, so I am going to blast him. I'm going to blast him with my weak attack, because it may be weak, but when you add a flamethrower to it, oh boy, it's going to be good. Come on, weak attack. Let's not be weak. Let's roll some dice. Come on, I need a good attack here. Come on, big money. Okay. Oh, look at that. I got 2 hits exactly. I don't even have to waste any cards. Oh my gosh, first time for that today. Woo, so good. All right, we're going to be able to do the 1 damage. I know it's still only 1 damage, but I get to add the 3, so that's 4 damage. So we're going to get rid of 4 of the damage on our Evomorph, and it is at 2 health remaining. So we remove 4 health. And it does say whenever I take damage, whenever you damage the Evomorph in your space, I lose a damage. So we're not in its space. So I only have to do that. Now that didn't cost me any time at all. So that's awesome. Next thing I'm going to do is play a short rest. I have a plan. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully it goes well. I am going to roll this up and hopefully get healed here. I'm going to have to lose 2 cards to heal and lose 1 time. We are totally going to do that. I'm going to go to 5 and I am going to lose. I'm just going to lose my 2 focus cards. I don't think I'm going to need them. At this rate, I think our horror is going to be where it is. There's not much I can really do about that. But I do get to heal 1, so I get to gain back 1 life. I am at a full health yet again. And I think that might be about all we do this turn. I think I'm going to keep the... Oh, we got a better plan. We're going to use Improvise. Oh, this has to work. Come on. I need Improvise to work. This is going to be super, super good. Here we go. Let's get a good roll. Oh no, I got to get rid of 2 cards to do it. That's okay. I'm going to get rid of Walk and I'm going to get rid of Scan. And that means for the next horror roll only, all 3s and 4s are successes. That's going to be super good. We're going to be done. I think I only used 1 time on that, didn't I? Short rest was 1 time and that was it. The attack was not one. The weak attack was a straight number thing. Yeah, that's fantastic. All right. So I've got 5 I can use. Oh my gosh, that's going to be so good. What do I want to take? I'll tell you what I want to take. With 5, I want to take Furious Strike. Now remember, I could discard cards to gain time back, but I won't. I want to keep this card. That's an important card. I'm going to take this for 1, meaning my time is now at 4. For 4, I'm going to take my Furious Strike yet again. That's going to be our plan. All right, I've got 3 cards, plus I'm going to get my Walk card back as well. Now, that's not a lot of cards that I can use to discard to help me out, but I think we're going to be okay. At least I hope we're okay. We're going to place these cards back out here. I'll put my Improvise right there. Our short rest, all these are 0s, right? Oh, except for 1, our Scan card. Super glad I bought that. This thing hasn't vanished yet, which is super interesting. Last time I did play this game once before, trying this out to see how it goes because I was super excited for it. And this thing kept vanishing and reappearing all over the place. I kept scanning to try to find it and make myself not die. But I died in the end. Yeah, it hasn't vanished once at all. That's the end. It's going to be the Evomorph's turn. The first thing it's going to do is it is going to attempt to move towards the closest victim and then kill it. Let's see it. It has a total of 2 speed still. So it's only going to move 1, 2 straight through me, and it can't get to anybody. That's awesome. We're going, I think I forgot to panic this thing last turn. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. We're going to do our terror card now. Our terror card is Scratches in the Dark. It's going to, look at this. It's going to target me and move like crazy. For each space that the Evomorph passes through that contains at least 1 victim, including its starting space, gain 1 horror. But it doesn't attack me. It just moves to me? Well, that's kind of weird. All right, well, so be it. It's going to move up here, and it's ending its turn in the trash compactor, so it's going to lose 1 health. I'll take it. I'm not going to say no to that. That's pretty bonkers. What? That's a weird card. I can understand where it's going. It would run all the way across the ship, potentially, and gain a whole bunch of terror, but I was right next to it, and it benefited me this time. Now, if this card ever came up another time, who knows? It might be the worst thing ever. Now the Evomorph is sitting here with only 1 health left. So at this point, I get an extra die when rolling because it's on its very last legs, so I guess you could say. With it only having 1 health, I would like to play like a weak attack, but all I have is this Furious Strike. It will do at least 1 damage, so maybe that will be just enough. We'll see how it goes. I get 3 dice now because it's on its last legs there. Let's see how we do. I have to do 3 damage here. Oh, come on, let's get this thing. Let's see how we do. I got 1 success. That's it, and blankos. That's fantastic. I think that's going to be okay. It's going to end the turn, and because it's going to end right here. That's okay. I have 6. That's going to be fine. I'm going to do 1 damage to it, and it's going to lose 1 horror. So our horror is going to go to 3, which does help. And then the moment we've all been waiting for. Is the Evomorph dead? It's going to take 1 damage. Or is it going to have a surprise twist, waking up and from its dead and come back to life? I also have to do 1 damage to myself because I did damage it while it was in my square. Let's see what the token holds. Come on, are you dead? No, it comes back with 1 health. Oh no, so we're going to denote that with its 1 white die right there. That's going to be how I denote this. The reason why we don't put anything else there is because I still get that +1 die to roll even though it's on its last health. And this one is a 1 health chip. It can't be anything else. You can't have any more surprise and this thing jumps up and is happy to kill me. So lucky for me, that's where it sits. But that does end the action phase. Now, even if I had more things I could do, the action phase would end when the surprise twist comes up, which is kind of cool. I do have 6 total points I can use. My total time is 6 over here. So I think at this rate, I'm going to grab another one of these close calls because that's really good. I'm going to grab a scan. Who knows? It might try to vanish, which would be absolutely terrible. And I think that might be, let's see, that's only 2. So we're going to drop down to 4. I think we're going to grab, now let's see how many cards we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're at our max right now. That doesn't mean that I have to pick up all the zeros. I can choose not to. I can pick up some of these other cards and well. I think I like the improvise as well for 3. 1, 2, 3, and I have 1 left. Let's just grab 1 more scan card as well. No, I lied. I'm going to hit the scan card back. That's going to be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to keep these, and let's see which ones of these I'm going to take. I'm going to take the weak attack, the walk, and the short rest just in case. And the Furious Strike will go back out here, and these are going to stay right here. I can't pick them up because I now have 10 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I get 1 more. I'll grab one of the focuses back. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. There we go. I've got my hand of 10 cards. It's going to be the Evomorph's turn, and he's going to go beat somebody up. And this time it is going to happen. He's going to move 1, 2 and eat this person for lunch. And that's going to be what happens there. Which means, well, this is going to panic anyway at the end of the phase. And he's going to gain 1 bloodlust. We'll move up 1. He now moves 3 spaces and attacks at a 3. And my horror rating goes up, so it's now at 4. With that done, we'll draw our next terror card and see what we have. Hopefully it's something not too bad. We have Shadow Blitz. If the Evomorph is a hatchling, discard and draw the next terror card. No, it's not. So, oh, it's going to vanish. Barf. All right, well, there it goes. Poof, right on the terror deck. Then it says, immediately draw the next ambush card. Well, that's not going to be good. It's probably going to jump right on top of me and kill me. All right, here we go. Let's see what he does. Pow. Oh, he's going to raise the horror one. So he's still out there somewhere. Oh, I can't get to him. That's horrible. All right, well, we'll raise our horror. This will go up to a 5. Now I have to panic Jonesy. I don't know if I've been doing it. I think I may have missed a few here or there. 1 that way. It's going to go a 5, which is going to go down here. And then 1 more. It's going to go to a 1, which is back up there. Well, the only thing I can do is I'm going to try to scan it. If I can scan this and put this into my space, it's going to skip the killer phase and remove this card from the game. That'd be awesome. I do not actually want the X's. Oh, we're just going to get the 3. Well, that's right? We're just going to get 3. Interestingly enough, when I play my scan card, I need 3 successes. I do get to roll 3 dice, and I actually have the improvised card still in effect. I used it the last time, and for the next horror roll, all 3s and 4s are successes. Now, I'm not sure if it carries over as far as it's carrying over, but I haven't rolled any horror rolls since that card was played. If I'm wrong about this, please let me know in the comments below, but I'm going to say it goes. I'm going to make this, I'm going to get all these successes here. I got 2 successes and a blank. So the blank is no good. We're going to get rid of that blank. I am going to play my close call. We're going to re-roll 1 die here. We're going to re-roll this one, and we got it. Oh my gosh, we got 3 successes. I didn't even have to worry about the improvised roll. But just in case, if anybody knows how that goes, please let me know. This is the first one I've had since this, even though it's almost like a whole turn later. But I got 3 successes. The Evomorph, you place it in my space, skip the next killer phase, and remove this card from the game. I'm going to remove that from the game. I'm going to place it down on the board, and I'm going to hit it with my weak attack, because why not? It doesn't mean my action phase is over. I don't see anything about that at all, which is fantastic. Evomorph, it's time to die from either the trash compactor or my character here. Or a little bit of both. We'll grab 3 dice and see how we do. Come on, all I gotta do is hit it with, I just need that, really, is all I need. We got one success. I can give myself a 2. I can get rid of 2 cards, why not? I can Get rid of focus and rock. And then there we go. I did my damage. That's enough to kill the Xenomorph, and we were able to save the day. I do take 1 damage because, of course, the thing has acid for blood. So remove the final chip, and our Evomorph is dead. Wow, we actually got that thing. That was awesome. I'm going to tell you right now, it's the first time I've actually beat this thing. I'm super pumped. That's fantastic. Let's just show you what this other power is that it would have. Now, this power would have came into effect if the entire Terror deck would have gone through. Now, it would go through a lot faster. If this thing had already would have got to the top and gone again, it says that I lose 2 time and discard the next Terror card. So that's a way for a lot of these Terror cards to just disappear. The card that it could have actually morphed into here, it says, is called Death in the Dark, if it's the right way. First, it's going to go after somebody. It's going to move, attack, and then vanish. And so every turn it's going to come out at an ambush. When drawing ambush cards, I draw 1 and choose the one at the highest danger value, which would be absolutely terrible. So for example, we'd have to draw 2, and I would keep the 4, which would mean that would go up, I'd lose 2 things. Or make a horror roll, and that would happen. There's a lot of, I'm sure there's a number 10 in here. It's really bad. Let's see if we can find it. Here's 8. What's this? You are a victim on the board. Discard and draw the next ambush card. Otherwise, place the Evomorph in the victim's farthest from you and destroy a victim, pretty much is what it says here. The 7, I don't even know where the 10 is. Is there even a 10? Oh yeah, 10 is right here. This is absolutely bonkers. Place the Evomorph in the closest space to you and then target the girl and go to town. Basically kill her is what that is. That's awesome. Oh, the Evomorph was fantastic. I'm super pumped. I'm thinking about doing another one of these because now remember that scenario book has a whole bunch of neat little ways of making these thematic. There's one that would use the Evomorph but in a different place. There's another one that can, like for example, they have one that's supposed to be kind of like a practice scenario where you're playing in the camp from the very first game, or you could play in the insane asylum where they don't believe what Ellen is saying and about what she saw on the ship, and then you are actually in that location fighting the Evomorph. It's really cool how this all plays out. And of course, it does tell you to set this thing up a little bit differently to make it completely a new experience. And I had actually had a completely different experience from the other ones. Like I said, the other time he kept vanishing and coming back and vanishing and coming back. He actually killed me with that card. This one right here. He slaughtered my girl. It was pretty funny. So this is Final Girl. This is the Evomorph scenario with the USS Konrad, and I did the actual scenario from the book, which makes it more thematic. But of course, you can make all these. I could mix every single one of these up and make it completely different every time. And there are a whole bunch of tarot cards that we did not use that we'd mix up in the thing to make a completely new, different deck. And remember, there are 4 items that we didn't even get to see. Here is the super loader key that we didn't get to use. Too bad for me. So that's it. That's Final Girl. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so we'll soon know when more content comes out. Also, please feel free to leave anything in the comments below. I would love to hear from everyone. Have you had a chance to play a lot of Final Girl? After getting the second wave of this shipment, my wife and I are planning to sit down and play a ton of it. We're really excited for what new experiences we can have with this game. If you're interested in supporting the channel, please feel free to check out my link to my Patreon. It's in the description of this video as well. Those that have already joined the Patreon are located here on the screen. Thank you so much for all of your support. It really means the world to me. If you join the Patreon, some of the perks you get is you'll be able to watch videos before they come out. Also, you get a chance to help vote on what happens in some of the videos. For example, I might be coming back to Final Girl and I'll ask my Patreons who we should play with and where we should play and what we should play against to give you an idea of having a chance of to give you the ability to help control what is being played on the channel. To give you the ability to help decide what is played on this channel. Also, we do live painting events, and we also do live playthroughs with Colin from the One Stop Co-op Shop. There's a lot going on at Meet Me at the Table, and I'm excited to continue on with some great games. Thank you again for watching, and if you're excited to see what comes next, then I need you to meet me at the table.